No. I need to go by one. That's it. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, permit me to stand on established protocol. And let me put on record the apologies of the chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, who would have wanted to deliver this paper in person, but is currently not in the country, but has asked me to do this. Again, to say the paper is written and it's presented and available, and because of time, I'm just going to be skipping some area and emphasize on key issues that will bring up discussions for us to look at. Having said that, this paper is we're discussing it within 5-6 different headings. First, we believe that we need to look at the global environment and how it affects us as Nigerians. Because it's important to know that the call for restructuring, agitations, and all of these things are not done in isolation. And so we want to look at the global landscape and then look at Nigeria, look at some definitions, look at some history about how we evolved to where we are, and talk about key points that we need to look at, and then I'll come to my conclusions. It's important to say that the state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today is accentuated by our economic recovery from one of the worst recessions in the last 3 decades, coupled with the social political dislocations that seems to truly measure our resolve to stay together as a nation. But like I said, Nigeria is not left alone in these ages of turbulence. The global landscape in 2017 has been characterized by forces that we think we call not only are the landscape violent, they are uncertain, they are complex, and they are ambiguous. And when I mean violent, what exactly are we saying to? We're saying the magnitude and structural changes that are happening all over the world, they are unprecedented, they are national and global, whether it's in politics, whether in economics or social and technological space. They are changing, so they are volatile. I'm not sure anybody will have predicted that a Brexit will be coming around now, and now we're talking about Britain leaving the EU area. Neither will anybody have anticipated the fact that Trump will come up and say, I'm getting out of NATO. That has been a major source of building and defending the total security landscape. They are uncertain because the range of causes and effects are defined traditional references. Things that we could have imagined would have happened before and we deal with are becoming difficult for us to handle. And they are complex and they are unknown. The World Economic Forum normally what they do is that they identify what are the risks, certain things in the world that will determine, that we should look at the risk matters. What are the likely things that will affect the world next year? They normally will identify about 30, 40 points and give it to nations to evaluate and look at your top 5 issues that you think are major that could affect the world so that people can preempt and plan and work at it. In the report they released concerning the Global Risk Report of 2017, they had identified 5 key issues that need to be looked at. 1, the need to revive the economy of the world that is ailing. And because the economy of the world is ailing, what is causing that is leading to financial insecurity and there is global inequality. I mean, the normal phrase is that top 80% of world resources is in the hand of less than even 10% of the entire world population. So they look at this trend that if we don't revive the economy and put people to work, if we don't revive the economy and try to narrow the divide between the haves and have-nots, it will continually be a trigger point and a point of risk. The second thing they have found out is that because people at the bottom of the pyramid are not experiencing what they call dividend of globalization, they're not looking at the long term. They are concerned about the short term, and they're looking at what is in it for me. As a matter of fact, the whole essence of capitalism is failing, because once capitalism and globalization have tended to allow things to grow, more things available for everybody, the mere fact that it is not going around and everybody are not feeling it, people are saying, you know what, in the long run, like some of the economists will say, we'll all be there. Why don't you deal with the matter for the short run? Of course, the debate about inclusiveness. Nations that have been together are saying, you know what, we want our national identity. We want to be alone. The whole essence of Brexit came out of the fact that the people in Britain say, you know what, we have been part of this euro. What are we going to benefit from? And if you look at the pattern of vote, those who are people who knew about Britain before the euro came up, the older people felt left behind. And so they agitated and say, you know what, to your tent, O Israel. And the same agitation, not only do we have it in the world, it's impacting in the Nigerian environment. That's why everybody is saying, you know what is my portion in this federation called Nigeria? I'm being left behind. We are not feeling the impact. And so because it's happening globally, it's happening the ripple effect in Nigeria. Again, of course, we have the challenges about cooperation. In those days, if anything happened in the world, you knew who was leading. America and called a few people and they cooperated. But what do we see today? We are in a nation, we are in a world that is leaderless. We have multipolar leadership. Everybody is arising. America pulled out of the COP 4 agreement in Paris. That's what happened. Some people are talking with China, some people are talking with other groups in the world. Now, the last, of course, is the fact that technological changes, revolution that is happening in technological changes, is displacing people, making sure that nations like us that are labor intense are no longer finding work to put people. It's putting on people the need to retrain our labors. You find out that some people say they are out of job. But really, what is happening is that the job of today, they are not trained for it. And unfortunately for us, even in this country, even our universities and our schools of higher institutions are not preparing our people for the job of the decade to come. So these are things causing problems. So it has implications for Nigeria. And here, the whole world has 4 global implications for Nigeria, and I want to stress this. Number 1, the national stability imperative of Nigeria within the context of the world is non-negotiable. Again, for us, as some businessmen, we're saying the business case for a united Nigeria must be made very clearly, and regardless of whatever we are facing through, we need to look at it to deal with it. Because I tell people, whether you look at it from the southwest, from the southeast or north, even if you have all the endowments to do what you can do within your region, one of the attractions for you to be in the united Nigeria is that it offers you a very large market. Today you see Brexit, they are out. The British people want to negotiate. How can they still be part of a larger EU? Because they want to sell to that market, they want to talk to that market. So it is clear to every one of us that the business case for a united Nigeria is very, very important. And more importantly, the third thing it has brought to the fore is that what we are discussing today, the matter of fiscal federalism, is not only important, it is relevant and something we want to